All right, remember Vine? It's kind of become a little easy to forget. What do you think, Lindsay? Has it kind of dropped off the radar a little bit?
I remember it, but frankly, it's been a long, long time since I logged in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, joining us to talk about Vine's future is Kurt Wagner from Recode. How's it going, Kurt?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Awesome. It's great to get you back. You wrote an article today about Twitter's, their short form video product that is Vine. Seems to be pointing to a whole lot of, I don't know, kind of fracturing happening. What's happened during the past few months?
Yeah, the service, which kind of operates as like a standalone startup, if you will, inside of Twitter. They have an office in New York, whereas Twitter's headquarters are in San Francisco. The company is not doing so well. A bunch of their top product and business folks have left in the last couple months. They just brought in a new GM to kind of oversee all of Vine. She just started in May, and a lot of people have been leaving since then. And I don't think it's necessarily specific to her so much as it's specific to the idea of bringing in someone new. And a lot of these, folks are just kind of ready to leave and jump ship. And a big reason is because Vine is no longer growing. This app is, not only have we heard that from former employees who were just there, but we pulled some of the new ComScore metrics, and they show that the user base is kind of shrinking for Vine. So not really a great place to work at the moment, and a lot of people are on their way out.
Oh, sorry, Lindsay, did you have something?
I have. Well, my question is the problem just sort of never going to go away? Because now that Twitter will let you upload your own video, is there even a need for Vine? Vine seemed to solve a very specific problem about providing video content when the concept was still pretty new for Twitter. And now it doesn't seem like a necessary part of developing that ecosystem on Twitter.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I remember when Vine first Twitter kind of rolled out the idea of native video, right? Like uploading directly to Twitter. I asked the same question, like, is this going to cannibalize Vine, right? Why would you go post something on a much smaller network when you could just go directly to Twitter and reach, 300 million people versus whatever size audience Vine has? And the response at the time, right, was that Vine is unique. It's only these 6-second videos. It's a looping thing. And there's a lot of young people who are consuming the video and also creating it. I don't think that's really the case anymore. I think that what we've seen is a transition away from this like short looping video to just video more broadly. Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, they're all doing this, and live video especially has become important thanks to Facebook and what Periscope is trying to do. So I just don't know if there's really a need for a place like Vine at the moment, given all the other alternatives, including Twitter. And I think in some ways they may have kind of cannibalized their own audience a little bit. And really the big issue is that a lot of the people who used to go to Vine to watch these Vine stars, like these super creators, they've moved on to other platforms like Instagram and Snapchat and YouTube. So if you're not going there to, watch really great stuff, what are you going there for?
And have they moved on primarily because it's easier to monetize in those places versus what they kind of, worked up from with Vine?
I think that was certainly an issue. I think there's a lot of creators with Vine who kind of felt either neglected or even disrespected at times because they were able to make money on other platforms, and Vine was not offering them that. And so, the argument from Vine has always been, well, there's been a few different waves of Vine stars who have come through and then gone on to other things. And as long as there's always another wave of kind of Vine celebrities coming up through the pipeline, then that's okay. Like, it's okay for someone to jump from Vine to YouTube or even to Hollywood. We've seen a few of these Vine stars get into commercials and TV shows. The issue is like, how many times can you cycle through these stars and send them somewhere else, because their audiences oftentimes go with them. And so I think at this point, that's kind of what we've seen is like a transition of some of these big Vine stars bringing their audience with them to competitors. And obviously that's no good for Vine or Twitter.
And it seems like if you were going to get started now, if you were sort of chomping at the bit to become an internet celebrity of some kind, you wouldn't start with Vine now. So it sort of seems like they're trying to hold on to what you have, but if you're going to get a start now, Snapchat.
I think you're right. I talked, this has now been probably a month and a half or so ago, but I talked to a kind of a big time exec in the entertainment industry, someone who represents a lot of these folks, and was asking him, what are the thoughts on Vine? And he was basically like, we can't get our stars off of Vine fast enough. It was a very telling conversation to hear someone just so blatantly kind of not only just say, well, it's one of many places we try to be. I mean, he was actively trying to get his clients off of the platform, and that's only one person, but it was someone that it really struck me as an important transition period, and I don't know how Vine kind of wins those folks back.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't seem like Vine is part of the conversation when you're talking about these kind of, these services that are lighting people's, their efforts and illuminating them in such a way that
Right.
that is beneficial to them, let's say. So then the future of Vine, which I guess no one really knows the answer to right now, but Twitter has all these kind of disparate services happening alongside Twitter. Does Vine get folded in, do you think? Or, I mean, what happens to it?
Well, it's a good question, and one that I don't really have a super strong answer for. I mean, we were trying to figure out exactly how big Vine is. We had difficulty getting any hard numbers from inside the company, but ComScore put it, I want to say, at around 25 million, 24 million, I believe, active monthly users. So it's not as if it's a non-existent platform, right? I mean, 24 million people, if that's indeed the case, that's still a lot of people who watch Vine videos every month.
Sure.
I think the issue is, like, if it's slowing down, if it is shrinking, you want to be sure that you don't lose those 24 million people altogether, right? So how do you make sure that if they're no longer going to come to Vine, they're at least turning to Twitter or Periscope or some other video option that Twitter offers, because you don't want to have built that audience and then see them all go to someone else that's not you. So I would be surprised if Vine just like disappears. I think that the idea of it folding into Twitter or somehow combining with Twitter or Periscope in some way makes more sense. I don't think a company like Twitter necessarily needs 3 distinct video platforms.
Right.
And so I think of the 3, Vine seems like the odd person out that would probably somehow blend into one of the other 2.
Sure.